Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Maryam. I live in Dubai. According to you, which is the best place to live on this earth as a Muslim, where we can practice our deen and our kids get the best values? Jazakallah khair. May Allah protect you and your family always. Ameen. The sister has asked a very important question and a very difficult question, that which place according to me today is the best place where a Muslim can live, which place, which country, which city a person can live and follow the deen and can bring up his children, etc. But naturally, without doubt, the two best places in the world are the Haramain, that is Makkah and Medina. And we know these two are the holy cities, of Islam. So they are the best without doubt. And the beloved Prophet ﷺ said, Hadith of Ibn Majah, volume number 2, Hadith number 1406, that the beloved Prophet said that anyone who prays in my mosque, he'll get 1,000 times more reward than prayer in any other mosque except the sacred mosque, talking about Makkah, the Masjid al-Haram in Makkah. For in the sacred mosque, you will get 100,000 times more sawab. So if you pray in Masjid al-Nabwi, it is 1,000 times sawab. In Haram in Makkah, you get 100,000 times sawab. So these two are the two holiest mosques. And scholars differ regarding what does it mean by praying in the Haram. Does it mean praying only in the mosque, or does it mean in the full hudud, the full Haram area? The Makkah city is hudud, is the Haram. So some scholars say it's only in the mosque, some scholars say no, it is in the full Haram. Like some scholars, like Ibn Taymiyyah, Allah have mercy on him, says only in the mosque. There are other scholars like Sheikh bin Baz and many of the Hanafi fuqahas, the Shafi, the Maliki, they say no, it means the full Haram, anywhere in the city. But irrespective whether you get 100,000 times sawab or not, it is understood that the whole Haram is much more pure than other parts of the non-Haram. Similarly, Medina. So the best city in the world is Makkah, second is Medina. Both of them, they are the best. But I'm sure that the questioner doesn't want this answer, they want the answer otherwise. It's not possible for all the Muslims to go and live in Makkah, Medina. She wants an answer which is other than the Haramain. If the sister would have asked this question to me maybe about 10 years back, I would be in a better position to reply. But now, in the last 5 to 10 years, the political situation has changed so much, especially in the Muslim majority countries, that previously I could say that, but naturally, for sure, there is no country in the world which is following 100% of the Islamic Sharia. There is no country in the world that I know of, today or 10 years back or 20 years back or 30 years back, which was following 100% of the Sharia, of the Quran, the Sahih Hadith. That was the time of the Prophet, at the time of Khulafa Rashidin. Alhamdulillah, it was the best time. Now, no country. But if you had asked me this question 10 years back, I would say though no country is 100% Islam, who's following 100% Islam, but we can say is following majority. Majority means more than 50%. I could name maybe one or two at least, if not more. But now, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, the political scenario has changed so much that unfortunately I cannot tell you a single Muslim country which is even following majority. Those countries which were maybe 10 years back, though not 100%, can say more than 51% safely. Whether it's 55% or 60% or 70% or 80%, that is debatable. But safely, most of the Muslims could say more than 50%. But today, even that I cannot say. Since the sister asked the question, today which is the best place for a Muslim to live so that he can practice Islam, etc., let me tell you, that if an individual Muslim wants to practice Islam in any part of the world, it's possible. That's a different scenario. But which place is the best, easily convenient, where a person can be on the deen? Let me tell you for sure that it is not the Western countries. There are many Muslims who have migrated to Western countries thinking you have good life, yes, you may get good money, but that is totally wrong. I would never count Western countries as anywhere close to being a good place for Muslims to live. And according to the glorious Quran, in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 97, when the angel of death comes to take the life of those people, the soul of those people who have sinned, and ask that how were you? They will say, we were weak and oppressed. So the reply would come, then isn't the earth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spacious enough for you to migrate? So based on this, majority of the scholars say it is not right for a Muslim to live in a non-Muslim country. Number one, according to this verse, and the verse continues, that those who have the ability should migrate if he's living in a place where majority are mushriks, or unless if he's weak, or if he's a woman, or if she's a woman, or if they cannot migrate, they have difficulty, then inshallah they should ask forgiveness, Allah will forgive. So this reply I have given in detail in my earlier question, maybe 1 or 2 months back. Is it permissible for Muslims to migrate to non-Muslim countries, Western countries? And I said totally wrong. If a Muslim is living there, it is best he should migrate to a Muslim country or a Muslim majority country, number one. If that non-Muslim country is a country where you can practice your deen safely and freely without any problem, then the fuqaha says it is permissible but yet makruh. Permissible but makruh. But tell you frankly, I don't know of any such country in the world, any Western country in the world where you can openly practice your deen and say you're safe. Certain aspects, yes. So those people who may try and give you a view that in this Western country, whether it be America, whether it be Europe, whether it be UK, I can practice my deen freely, they are lying. Yes, certain parts you can, not totally. And certain cities or certain countries, it's much more easier than other parts, yes. But as a whole, 100% no. There may be some people who go to Western country and have become more Islamic. That is Allah's plan, alhamdulillah. That's Allah's will. That doesn't mean it is better. According to the Islamic Sharia, according to most of the scholars, a Muslim should not live in a country which has majority non-Muslims. Best is migrate. Unless if that country he can practice freely, then it becomes makruh, it's not the best. Or if you are weak and you cannot migrate. And I've given that answer in detail. I don't want to go in that. So number one is surely it cannot be a country in which majority are non-Muslims. There are some exceptions where India was a country that was ruled by Muslims for more than 1,000 years. And it had approximately 40% Muslims. Then the Britishers came, they had partition, 1/3 went to Pakistan, 1/3 Bangladesh, 1/3 remained. So now it is approximately 15-16%. It's become a minority, but yet the country has Muslim personal law. And there are some other countries like Singapore which has a Muslim personal law. So if a non-Muslim country which has a Muslim personal law, then okay, that means legally you're allowed to follow Islam. And there are very few, and none of the Western countries that I know which has a Muslim personal law. So, in which a non-Muslim Western country, a majority non-Muslim Western country, I don't know any. These, alhamdulillah, India is exception. As I told you, it was ruled by Muslims, so they will not fall under that category where you have to migrate. And I've given that answer also in detail. So coming to the questioner, surely it cannot be a Muslim majority country. But recently, even India, after the BJP came to power, it is deteriorating. Before that, I would say it is safe. You could practice Islam freely. You had the rights. Today also in the constitution, the Muslims have a right to live and they have the security. But the present government, the BJP government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attacking Muslims. They're not giving them the rights. So now it's a problem for Muslims to live in India. But maybe 7-8 years back, it was safe. Most of the parts of India were safe. Now, after BJP has come, most of the parts of India are unsafe. And similar in Singapore. It's not the same as before. The rules are changing. So coming back to it, surely that country has to be a Muslim majority country. And today, there are approximately 57 countries which have Muslim majority population. And when I was forced to do hijrah, I had to leave the country. I myself did a survey, which is the best country to live in. And alhamdulillah, there were more than 10 countries, most of them Muslim majority country, who offered me and told me you can come and live here, we'll give you citizenship, etc., etc. But I was in no hurry. I took my time. I did my survey. And I chose amongst all the countries in the world, amongst more than 200 countries in the world, amongst 57 Muslim majority country, I would say the best of the worst Muslim country, or to put it in a better way, the best available Muslim country for me to live in, it was Malaysia. And alhamdulillah, I will give you the reasons why I said that. So as far as I am concerned, as a Dai who wants to propagate Islam, who wants to preach Islam, who wants the freedom to practice Islam and preach it without fear of being silenced, the best amongst all the Muslim available country is Malaysia. There are other Muslim countries which are more in majority but may not be comfortable for me as a Dai. It may be comfortable for some other Muslims who are not preaching Islam, who are not involved in dawah, but as I told you, according to the Quran, the best profession is of a Dai. So if a Dai is not comfortable, you can be sure that that country is not following Islam in total. If it's following Islam in total, it will surely be very good for a Dai to live in. Now coming back to the answer, why do I say that Malaysia is the best amongst the available Muslim country? I'll give my reason. At least for me it is, and according to me, even for most of the Muslims, if not 100%, but for majority of the Muslims, Malaysia would be the best. Number one is that in Malaysia, the federal religion of this country is Islam. Yes, amongst the 57 majority Muslim country, Islam is not the religion of the country. Many countries, they are Muslim majority country, but they are secular. Most of the big countries that are the maximum population, they are called as secular countries. Whether it be Indonesia, whether it be Bangladesh, Indonesia has maximum, among the Muslim country, maximum population. Bangladesh has number 3 population, but they are based on the secular principle. They are not called as Muslim country, though they may be majority Muslim country, but they don't follow the Islamic Sharia, etc. So, number one, in Malaysia, the federal religion is Islam. Number one. Now, among the 57 Muslim majority countries, all don't say that Islam is followed, and those who say also may not be following Islam. It may be for namesake. Let's not go into the details. I don't want to talk about the other countries. I may not talk about Malaysia. So number one, Islam is the federal religion, is the religion of the country. Number two, the government itself in Malaysia, mashallah, promotes most of the Islamic activities. For example, here the economic system. There is the option that you can have, here there is a Sharia court. There is a normal court also. In economics, in the finance, you have the conventional bank, you also have the Islamic bank. And alhamdulillah, Malaysia is number 2 in the world in terms of Islamic finance, in terms of volume, alhamdulillah. So the population is not very big, it's hardly about 32 million. But it is Sharia compliant. The mosques you find are managed by the government very well, it's taken care of very well. So here, the Islamic activities, mashallah, are promoted by the government. The Sharia courts are there, the Sharia Islamic banking is there, Sharia finance is there, you'll find Sharia insurance, where in some majority Muslim countries, though it's a Muslim majority country, you will not find it. So there is takaful, mashallah. Then there is, by the government itself, There is a Dawah organization, there is Islamic organization, they support that. From the income tax, an individual person, when he's giving zakat, if he gives zakat to an organization which is certified by the government, you need not pay income tax. Means the income tax value, if you give a zakat, for example, if I'm earning a few $100,000, I'm supposed to give $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 I have to give as income tax. If I give that to a zakat organization as an individual tax, that is accepted, I don't have to pay income tax additional. Alhamdulillah. If it's a company, there are some limitations. So the rules and regulation, there are Islamic Sharia courts, the normal court also. So the government promotes Islam. Amongst, I cannot say that I've traveled to all the Muslim countries. I have traveled to, alhamdulillah, maybe 50, 60 countries, out of which maybe 35 to 40 may be Muslims. So I don't claim I visited all the Muslim countries, but I visited most of the Muslim countries. And those which I have not visited, I try and find out the rules and regulation. Whatever I have in my limited knowledge, I would say Malaysia is the best available. Number three, the third reason. The first is the religion, is federal religion. Number two, the government supports in various ways. Halal activities, halal food, everything. Number three, Malaysian, amongst the non-Arabs, I would say the practice of Islam is very high. In Arab countries, in the Gulf countries, of course, I'm not comparing that, but amongst the non-Arab countries or the non-Gulf countries, like Muslims in India, in Pakistan, in Malaysia, I would say an average Malaysian is the more practicing Muslim than an average Muslim living in India, or average Muslim living in Pakistan, or average Muslim living in Bangladesh. I myself am an Indian, but on average, an average Malaysian here offers the percentage of Muslims in Malaysia offering 5 times salah in the mosque is much more than the percentage of Muslims offering in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh. And I can go on. So an average Malaysian is more aware of his deen than an average Muslim in India or Pakistan or in Bangladesh. So the practice of Islam in an average Muslim in Malaysia is much higher than an average Muslim in a non-Arab country. I'm not talking about the Gulf countries or the Arab countries, where much natural. There are some Arab countries, the Tawheed is very high and the practice is very high. The Salah is much high, alhamdulillah. I'm talking about the non-Arab countries. Number fourth, the reason is that Malaysia is not directly under the control of any Western countries. Unfortunately, most of the Muslim majority countries, they are directly or indirectly controlled by the Western countries, whether it be America or whether it be some other Western countries. They are indebted to them or other non-Muslim country. Most, not 100%, but majority among the 57 countries which are majority Muslim, they are under control, direct or indirect, of a Western country or non-Muslim country. Which Malaysia, alhamdulillah, is not under the control of any other non-Muslim country, mashallah. And plus, physically also, it is away from the war zone. So the Gulf is the war zone, war is in Yemen, taking place in Syria, or there. So it is away from the Western countries physically, it's away from the war zone, therefore it is much safer. That is the fourth point. Fifth point, economically Malaysia is strong. Though it's called as a developing country, I consider already developed. It is strong, it has got good economics, it has got a good budget, good income of petrol, etc. It is strong economically. Number 5. Number 6, the passport of Malaysia amongst the Muslim majority countries, it is the highest. In world ranking, it is the 14th. According to the Henley Passport Index, a Malaysian citizen who has a Malaysian passport can travel to 178 countries without visa. In Southeast Asia, it is second highest after Singapore. Among the Muslim majority countries, it is the highest in the world. There is no Muslim majority country which has as strong passport as Malaysia. So the Malaysian citizen, according to the Hensley report, as on 6th October, the index keeps on changing. Every month, in weeks it changes. As on the 6th of October, 2020, a Malaysian, a person holding a Malaysian passport could travel to 178 countries without visa. Somewhere visa is not required, visa on arrival. All these are 178 countries. The highest in the world, the highest passport is Japan, where a Japanese can travel to 191 countries without visa. Number 2 is Singapore, which is 190 countries. Number 3 is Germany, which is 189 countries. USA, UK, it is 185 countries. Malaysia, 178 countries. Means compared to USA and UK, 7 countries less. Maybe you may not want to go to the 7 countries. So the passport is very strong. All the other Muslim countries are much less. Then will come Brunei, maybe 165 countries. Then will be UAE, it was 125. Now I don't know the latest one. Then it's Turkey. So most of, except for 4 or 5 countries, Muslim majority countries, or 6, maybe having more than 100 countries. More than 50 of the Muslim majority countries, you can travel to less than 100 countries. This is the situation. Alhamdulillah, Malaysia is number 1. It is higher than many of the other non-Muslim countries also. It is the 14th rank. That is the 6th point. 7th point, that mashallah, Malaysia is a beautiful country and very good scenery wise. Greenery is there, beaches is there. It's, I think, 10th country for tourism. Beautiful country, mashallah. And sea is there, the greenery is there. Throughout Malaysia, it's beautiful. The 8th point, living here is cheap. The index of living is cheap here. And practically living also, I've been living here for mashallah about more than 4 years now. If I compare to city of Bombay and where I'm living in Putrajaya, it's almost the same. Or I would say value is same, but the quality is better here. So living here compared to Western countries, very cheap. Compared to Gulf countries, very cheap. It may be in the middle level. It may not be as cheap as African countries, but the quality is very good. The quality of food, the quality of fruit, the quality of living. The real estate is cheap. Compared to Bombay, it is very cheap. So if you compare, it is with a less money, you can live a much more luxurious life in Malaysia. That is point number 8. Point number 9 is that Malaysia, in terms of crime, certain cities are very high. Certain cities, but cities in which Muslims are more than 85% is very low. So cities in which the Muslims are more in majority, if the Muslims are less, then the crime is high. I don't want to go into the details, but other cities like where I'm staying in Putrajaya, it is negligible. But Kuala Lumpur, the crime rate is very high. Penang, the crime rate is very high. It may be one of the highest amongst the Asian countries. But otherwise, in the other parts like Putrajaya or the other Muslim majority place like can be Kelantan, Terengganu, Perlis, Kedah, it is low. Point number 10. 10th point is that there are chances, high chances of doing dawah because the Muslims are approximately 2/3 in Malaysia. The statistics that were last done more than a couple of decades earlier was 61.3%, but now I believe it may have gone to 64 or 65% of the population of Malaysia are Muslims. The last government record says 61.3%, but that was I think 15 years back. But now it has increased, inshallah. So there's a good opportunity for a person to dawah, where 1/3 of the population are non-Muslim. Number 11. The 11th point is that the facility given by the government to its citizen is excellent. Though many of the Malaysians aren't happy, maybe they haven't seen the world, but the hospitals are good. The facility, the free treatment that is given in the government hospitals are fantastic. There are many Malaysians who complain to me, I said, you have not seen the government hospitals outside in the world. I would say, Marshal Putrajaya, the government hospital is excellent. I would say as far as the government hospitals are there in Putrajaya, it would be better than 75% of the private hospitals in India. Even in Bombay. Bombay is a very rich city. It's a very strong city. Even in Bombay, the government hospitals of Putrajaya, especially the Putrajaya hospital, it's a special hospital, it is better than 75% of the private hospitals in India or even in Bombay. So the facility given by the government here is very good. And the 12th, as the questioner asks, that a place where our children can be brought with the values. Here, Alhamdulillah, in Malaysia, we have got many Islamic schools. Alhamdulillah. In the whole of Malaysia, even the government schools are Islamic, mashallah, but otherwise they have got many Islamic international schools in different parts of Malaysia. And especially in Putrajaya where I am staying, and I would say in Malaysia, it is preferable to stay in a city or a place which has majority Muslims or Muslims more than 85%, like maybe Kelantan, maybe Terengganu, Kedah, Perlis, and amongst all, a blend of everything, I would say number one is Putrajaya. Why Putrajaya? Putrajaya is a modern city. It's a new city which was built about 25 years back. It was carved from a forest, and mashallah, it's a very well managed city, very clean city. More than 90 to 95% of the population of Putrajaya are Muslims. It's an administrative capital of Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur is the capital of Malaysia. Putrajaya is the administrative capital where most of the ministries, the Prime Minister's office, except for one or two ministries are in Kuala Lumpur, majority are in Malaysia. It's a safe city, the crime rate is very low. And here, mashallah, in Putrajaya, there is, mashallah, no alcohol, no pork, mashallah, crime rate is negligible. So, alhamdulillah, it is a very good city. So, I would say one of the best places in the world would be Malaysia and especially Putrajaya, where the cost of living is low, it's a modern city, internet is very high, you can do dawah very well. So, for me, it is the best place. And for most of the Muslims also, it is one of the best places that a person can live. There can be other places in some parts of the Muslim country where one particular city where a person wants to live there and not interfere with the rest of the world. It may be better, Allahu Alam. And generally, I would say the best, but it's not easy to get citizenship. What you can do is you can apply for MM2H, that is Malaysia, My Second Home. Malaysia, My Second Home is a program which is brought by the government to encourage the foreigners to come and stay here, mainly after retirement or even before retirement. What you have to do is you have to invest 300,000 ringgit here, invest or keep it in an Islamic bank, and after 1 year you can remove 50% of it. And the balance 50% should continue till the end of the 10 years. Then you get a 10 years visa where you can come and stay with your complete family. It's called Malaysia, My Second Home. So if you just invest 300,000, that's about $75,000 US dollars. After 1 year, you can remove half of it, 150,000 ringgit. That is $37,500 you can remove, and the balance remains for the next 9 years. You get a full family gets Malaysia, My Second Home. You can buy a property here. It depends upon you. In this way, mashallah, after 10 years, again you can renew it. Lately, just a few months back, because of COVID-19, this program has been discontinued. Inshallah, very shortly it will start again. So this is one way that if you want to live in Malaysia, you can come on that visa of Malaysia, My Second Home. And a Muslim, mashallah, stay, I would say, the best amongst all the places available. But naturally, after the Haramain in Makkah and Madeena, I would say Malaysia, and one of the best places in Malaysia, it is Putrajaya. And we have run out of time, so that was the last question I could answer.